of islands, plains, and blades.
All right, our opponent is actually, on the other side here, is actually playing a deck I kind of tried working on for this tournament and eventually scrapped. It appears to be a blue-red counter-burn deck, basically capitalizing on Snapcaster Mage in a burn deck. So it's a mixture of cheap threats and a couple cantrips, a couple burn spells, and a couple soft counters. So I'm curious to see, I'm probably going to mispronounce this last name, Lu Kai or K?
Lu Kai in the dark.
Sure, Lu Kai in the dark. I'm curious to see how his build is, because I worked a fair bit on something like this in the weeks leading up to this tournament. So
yeah, so he leads off. He's got Grim Lavamancer, Delver of Secrets, Mountain Island, facing down a Cobblade player who's Gataxian probing him, and it's clear that he's actually got Mana Leak and Snapcaster Mage, which is that's a rock solid couple of spells to have. The thing I always wonder about with these decks, two things. One, is cutting a strong...
Delver's flipped?
Is cutting Strongheart Noble really an option? Like, he only plays 2 Nobles, which...
Well, this is when I was playtesting, by playtesting I mean mostly goldfishing this sort of deck, the issue that I ran into was once you have Snapcaster Mage in the deck, you kind of want to have a bunch of blue sources, because you want to be able to Snapcaster back, negate, or Mana Leak, so that requires double blue. Even if that's not a main deck plan, it's almost certainly something you're going to in your sideboard. So once you have that many blue sources in the deck, and you're playing 4 Sulfur Falls, which don't count as red sources on turn 1, you actually aren't super reliable to have red mana on the first turn, and Noble gets much worse when you aren't casting him on the first turn. So I was actually kind of frustrated with Noble when I was playing this deck. He plays 2, which is totally reasonable, but I think if you play enough blue sources to make Snapcaster as powerful as it can be, I think a 1-drop like Noble becomes much more difficult to have be reliable.
So that actually comes to part 2. And just as an update, the Insectoid is flipped here. We've got a 3/2 flyer and a Grim Lavamancer, with Kyle playing a Blade Splicer into the Mana Leak he knows Kai has, but he has to start drawing them out. Kai chooses not to use the Mana Leak, though.
Yeah, he's got enough pressure with his 3/2, and
he will get you set up for your deck construction.
Vapor snagging the token.
Ugh.
So hot. So hot.
We got a reader.
Oh, let me take a look at that one. No, I can't really be about to taste it. The other question I always have about these blue-red decks, though, like his mana base, 9 islands, 9 mountains, for Sulfur Falls.
Yep.
Now, I'm not from around these parts, but where I'm from, that's mighty bold for a deck that has blue 1-drops and red 1-drops.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a necessary evil. I mean, there's no way that you can get the mana base on this deck to be perfect unless you're willing to play significantly less powerful cards. That's just the reality of it. So he's definitely taking some liberties with his mana. I mean, the mana base is not perfect, but you know, to get all the powerful stuff in here, I think that's a risk he's willing to take.
Oh, and he does have a lot of power. You know, he's got Brimstone Volley with Snapcaster Mage. He's trying to do big things.
Yes. So,
Kyle, a little stumbling on mana, though. Kyle's the one who's, you know, as much as we always talk about Callblade having great lands, but Kyle's just 3 plains and a Glacial Fortress, so it's not actually clear that... I mean, I guess his build is very, very white-centric anyway. He's playing way more plains than islands because of the White Winnie aspect of it.
Right. But the mana bases in Standard are not what they were 3 months ago. Yeah, it's not even...
yeah.
So...
It's kind of nice, though. It's kind of refreshing to have mana bases be honest.
Right, I definitely feel in Constructed Magic in the last couple of years that multicolor decks have been kind of too much of a free roll. I'm not saying that I want games where people are getting color screwed all the time or whatever, but there should be some risk-reward balance to trying to jam a bunch of powerful cards across all the colors in your deck. And in the last Standard format, I don't feel that's the case, but now it's, you know, I mean, like we just commented, this guy has a 9/9/4 mana base. He is taking some risks.
And it's interesting, once again, we're seeing the Callblade players with Heroes and Mirran Crusaders with no access to Wrath of God. No Day of Judgments, and as a result, Kai takes game 1.
Yeah, that was a fairly good demonstration of what that deck is capable of doing, which is generating a fast clock, and then keeping the opponent basically on the back foot on their heels for the entire game. So
If you draw a 1-drop, a counterspell, an island, and a mountain,
Right, yeah.
that's the mix.
yep. Unfortunately, at least in my experience when I was playing, that configuration of cards was not as reliable as I
It's
would
hard to
like.
get the combo.
Right. Yeah.
So what's Kai bringing in?
Well, he has 2 copies of Manic Vandal, totally reasonable. 2 copies of Dismember, which is fine. He has Steel Sabotage he may want here. 3 Arc Trails, which are pretty marginal against Kyle's creature base, so probably not going there.
Do you
And
like the nobles? He's got more nobles in the board. Would you bring those in?
Actually, the deck that I had 4 nobles in the board.
Ah, okay.
Instead, I had none main, but I had 4 in the board. Basically,
Because like Chandra's Phoenix doesn't seem that great in this matchup, is it?
no, it's not particularly good, but Noble is so swingy on the play versus on the draw. That it's often worth being able to just have none in your deck when you're going second and have 4 in your deck when you're going first.
The Manic Vandals seem actually pretty good against Spell
Yeah.
Skites and Blade Splicers. Now, he doesn't know about the Spell Skites, but he's facing down Spell Skites, Blade Splicers, and Swords.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I think from Lou's perspective, it's hard to imagine Manic Vandal being completely blank.
Seems better than a Chandra's Phoenix, if nothing else. Like, if you're
Right.
just trying to keep your curve the same.
Yep.
Now, do you dislike any of his spells?
Well, just like any of his spells.
I mean, obviously, there's just minor tweaks, like maybe you run an
Right.
Arc Trail for
I
something.
guess I
Do you Arc Trail instead of Incinerate? Or instead of Vapor Snag?
for the main deck. No, I actually like Vapor Snag quite a bit because of Hero Blade Hold it is a pretty good reason to play Vapor Snag. I guess if I was in Lou's position here, I don't like Ponder as much as Gitaxian Probe, just because.
Well, he's not playing Gitaxian Probes.
Right, I'm saying I would. Are you asking what I would
No,
change
no,
out
just
of the
a
deck?
sideboard.
Oh, just a sideboard. Oh,
Yeah.
I would take out the 2 nobles
You take out the 2 nobles because
on
you're
the
on
draw.
the... Yeah, right.
2 nobles on the draw against decks that provide blockers can actually punch back. It's probably not where you want to be. And yeah, Incinerate is.
What about Chandra's Phoenix? Do you still like the Phoenix even though you're adding the Vandals?
I actually think Phoenix is reasonable just because in your sideboard games they often get much grindier and slower. So Phoenix being something you can lean on basically to do the bulk of your damage while your other reactive cards kind of keep him off his game is an angle I like. So
Well, so Kyle's got a ton in his board. He's bringing in Flash Freezes and Purges.
yep, and Ratchet Bomb's fine here too.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, Sun Titan too.
Yeah, he's
And
got.
it's a big body, right? Like, what do you not like?
I don't like the random aggressive guys very much because
Like, Mirror Crusader's awful here.
right, Kyle's sideboard is so.
Controlling.
Yeah, set up a controlling game here that I think the equipment's not very exciting, and all the creatures that are basically just attacking aren't very good.
Hero's still good. It's got such a big butt.
Yeah,
That,
right.
so you're talking like maybe take out the 3 swords and the 4 crusaders. That's
Yeah.
7. I mean, that's your Flash Freezes and Purges right there.
Right.
And you still like to get Ratchet Bombs and Sun Titans in. But
Yeah, I actually would rather have Ratchet Bomb than the Flash Freeze, honestly. Because
yeah, I guess this isn't like a pure red deck. You don't even know.
right, you don't even know how many red cards he's going to be presenting over the course of the game, and actually the blue cards are probably more troubling from Kyle's perspective because blue goes guy, protect. That's a path that's going to be harder for Kyle to beat. So
Whereas if
I'm
he
not-
sticks the Ratchet Bomb, he can duck under that.
right,
wall.
yeah. So I'm not even sure I would want to bring in all 4 Flash Freezes if I was Kyle here.
So you like Mana Leak better than Flash Freeze in this matchup?
Yes, for sure.
All right. What about Midnight Haunting? I always wonder about that in these type of things because, like, I mean, obviously in theory you could trade with the Delver or whatever, and it's 2 different
Yeah.
bodies for burn spells, but it's not out of the question for Lou to have a card like Geist Flame.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean,
I think that if you're playing against a beatdown deck that has Lava Mancer and Snapcaster, like things that are reasonable for your opponent to attack with at some point,
that's true.
Lou doesn't know that it's in his deck yet, so if he passes with 3 mana up, it's easy to assume that it could just be a counterspell, and I think there's other places he can go to make cuts before I would take out Haunting.
And what about the old Dismember versus red decks? In this matchup, it seems particularly important to be able to dismember that early Delver. But I've heard some people talk about sideboarding out Dismember.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dismember is particularly good here. I think Kyle's deck is potentially so good at going over the top that worrying about those kind of one-for-one exchanges is not where he wants to be. I think he wants to, be sweeping the board and providing good blockers.
He doesn't have any sweepers. Oh, the Ratchet Bombs.
Yeah.
He just has the Ratchet Bombs, right.
And lean on his blockers. I don't think paying for... Because with the exception of Delver, Lou doesn't actually have threats that are good to use Dismember on. Phoenix comes back. Snapcaster's already provided some value.
I mean, if he has the Nobles, but yeah, you're right. You're even talking about boarding out the Nobles.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what page Lou's on with his sideboard plan. Kyle, we're pretty sure, is trying to get as controlling as he can be.
Yeah.
Definitely love the Spellskites. I mean, obviously Manic Vandal can trump that, but Spellskite's so effective against these burn decks that no longer have cards like Flame Slash.
Yeah. Spellskite slapped the taste out of my mouth in the one round I played earlier today. He was brutal.
So the quick turn 2 Delver, which will presumably flip because it was set up by the turn 1 Ponder.
Yep.
Such a good sequence. I mean, that's what Delver does.
I thought Lou might have shuffled.
Oh, he might have. He did shuffle. He did shuffle, so he doesn't get the free flip. But at least he drew a Delver off the shuffle. Kyle, no 3-drop. I mean, obviously he boarded out the Mirror Crusaders, but there's the Midnight Haunting. Why did he not attack? Did he? Because the Spellskite's in play.
Yeah,
of course.
That's the other thing I kind of like about Midnight Haunting is everything that Kyle can, Lou basically can't prevent the avalanche of powerful cards for forever. He only has a couple counter spells and some Snapcasters. So anything that Kyle can do to sort of progress the game without committing mana on his own turn is eventually going to wear Lou down. Like, he can't sit there and pass with mana up the whole game.
Right, he doesn't make a good draw go deck.
Right, yeah. He has to do something. So everything that you can do that forces him to commit mana on his own turn.
Manic Vandal just seems so... Spellskite seems so brutal. If he doesn't have the Manic Vandal, it makes me think he actually wants the Steel Sabotage.
Yeah. It's actually, given the way that Lou's deck is set up, I'm surprised that he doesn't have Crush or Shatter instead of...
Oh, just to be as tempo-based as possible?
To be tempo-based, to play better with Snapcaster Mage.
I don't think you can Crush because it's too important to hit Spellskites, and they're everywhere now. Or Nexus, that's the other big one. But I think Shatter's actually, although I think you got to just play the Grudge and just Psychological.
Yeah, sure.
Or you could play a little green, like a Copperline Gorge or two.
Yeah, they're probably pretty close to a free roll. He's not trying to really get up to 4 mana, so.
Yeah, he's not one of those people trying to play Koth with 7 mountains.
Lou does have Nobles in his deck still, so.
And Noble doesn't match up that great on turn 5 against the Midnight Haunting Spellskite deck.
Yes.
Which is probably the type of thing you were talking about. Like,
right. The moons have to align in such a way for Noble to be powerful when you're on the draw.
Like, they can't be that aggressive, and you have to have cheap interaction.
Right.
And it has to be your opening hand.
It feels like your draw has to be quite good, and theirs has to be not very good, which is, most cards are good in that situation.
All right, so Kyle has a Spellskite back in his hand now.
Yeah,
from
got
the
hit with a
snag.
Vapor Snag.
He's got 2 Midnight Haunting tokens that are tapped, a Ratchet Bomb at 0, and 4 land. Good mix of colors. Lou has a Delver, a Stromkirk Noble, 5 land. He's going to get 2 points of damage in before the Ratchet Bomb, sadly, wipes the smile off of his face. Stromkirk Noble futilely going up to a 2/2. Kyle remembering to put the counter on the Ratchet Bomb, one of the most important skills.
Yeah, the first time I played with that card, I definitely thought it was powder keg. Yeah, it just sat, So, practice makes perfect.
Kyle replaying that Spellskite we saw. Fortunately for Lou, Spellskite is pretty close to a brick wall. It's interesting. If you're Lou, do you reveal a spell here?
No way.
There's no way that Kyle's even taking 1 damage?
Yeah, there's no chance.
We were just discussing if you even bother flipping the Delver, but besides, you'd rather trick him into taking the 1 damage,
Yes,
right? Like,
right.
hope he's like,
Yes.
oh, it's just 1 damage.
It's a Brimstone Volley on the Spellskite. So yeah, so this is where the tempo decks,
Yeah.
things get really rough is when you're using your cards reactively like that, and
Oh, no.
ugh.
Well, we're going to find out real quick.
I've seen,
At least he has the shock so that he's not dead immediately.
yeah, but trying to trade 1 for 1, he's not getting any sort of traction in the game, so
He really needs to play a creature right now and have a removal spell for that flyer, and Kyle not be presenting more. What would you think of something like Curiosity in a deck, something like this blue-red deck?
I'm not worried about winning the games where I'm connecting, I guess.
Oh, okay. You just want to put something down, just keep
Yeah.
connecting, and nurturing it. Clear blockers, counter spells that are, trying to stop your aggression. Kyle equips, faces a Snapcaster Mage, so that at least this is
Yeah.
forward progress.
Yes, he is starting to plant his feet in the ground and get back into it here.
Oh, he gets the Vapor Snag, make him taste that 1 extra
Yeah.
point of damage.
On
Maximum value.
Yeah.
Sadly, Snapcaster Mage knows the coast is clear because he has no blue mana open and is going to undo
He
everything.
rebought the leak
Wow.
to counter back, and so now
Sword hits.
we've seen this before.
Wait, are you talking about a blue-white deck that successfully mana leaks something and then has a 1/1 flyer with a sword on it?
I mean, opponent is hit by Sword and Feast of Famine and concedes shortly thereafter or loses the game shortly thereafter.
Oh, so it's just a Hero of Blighthold and a Spellskite that he plays
Fine.
with the 6 extra mana he just
Yeah.
got. At least Lou has a card or 2 left in his hand.
Actually, in the counter burn, yeah, there we go. In the counter burn build I was working on, I actually had a couple Chandra Firebrands.
Oh,
That thing was, I mean, it might have been too spicy or whatever.
that's like
but
that's a lot of jalapeno peppers on the tip
if
of your
you
tongue.
actually get to untap with that thing, it's awesome. From there, it's pretty easy to win. But
Were you copying more or just poking?
a mix of both. They're both good things for the deck to be doing. So,
Do you like it better than Koth? Or you didn't have enough mountains to consistently Koth very hard?
yeah, it was a number of factors, but cost still might have been better at the end of the day.
Oh.
But I did want to give the Firebrand a whirl, and it was sweet. It's probably more sweet than powerful, but on top of that thing, it's awesome.
Yeah, Chandra has a history of being more sweet than
Yes.
than powerful. I'd give her a whirl too. Why not?
Yeah,
Were we playing anything like Divination or Tezzeret's Gambit?
I did have Tezzeret's Gambit. Yeah,
Tezzeret's Gambit seems sweet, especially
Yeah.
if you have Strongkirk Noble.
I went through a lot of iterations of this deck, but it was just the mana was too much of a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. I mean, like, it would be a different world if you had Scalding Tarn.
Yeah. Then this deck, I would have played this deck if
Or if there was
Tarn.
Blue-Red Scars Land.
Yeah, anything. The filtering lands from Warwind block, like another red-blue duel, and I would have played this deck.
Well, the reason I've mentioned the Scars one or the Scars one that doesn't exist, or the Scalding Tarn is because of the ability to play your 1-drops on turn 1.
Yeah, that's the-
not
sure.
embarrassing amount of the time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even, I am a big believer, especially for attacking decks, of consistency. And seeing 9 mountains and 4 Stormkirk Nobles just makes my stomach turn.
It's tough. It's
You
like
are asking for a lot to go right to have this happen reliably.
we saw a deck list before. One of the decks we were looking at had mana leaks with just 4 Seacrum Coast for Glacial Fortress. In a white deck with 4 mana leaks and Geists, and it's like
Yeah.
mana leak with. I mean, you don't want to play mana leak on turn 6 as your
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting to see a bunch of deck lists that are actually honest, especially when they tempt you even further by giving you lands like Moorland Haunt, which make you want to play with colorless
Yes.
lands.
All of those lands are actually quite attractive.
All of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, especially like Gavani Township's already had a lot of success, and Nathalio Drown Yard's had success. The Stency is the only one that hasn't really had a lot of success yet, but its time will probably come. I mean, there haven't been really black-red decks.
Right.
So, the turn 1 Delver.
Here we go.
Let's go. Give it a whirl. Does not. I want to see go into the tank with come out, reveal.
Just slow roll.
Slow roll. Tank, reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, now this is a very aggressive start.
Well, if he has a Ratchet Bomb here, then we're going to be hitting the Wrap It Up box.
Attack Scene Probe, check, let's see what you got under the hood. Galvanic Blast, Snapcaster
An awesome hand if there's no Ratchet Bomb here.
Awesome against not Ratchet Bomb.
Yeah.
This is win the match. Have good chances if he doesn't have Ratchet Bomb.
I also like him throwing Caution to win here and just...
Playing the Delver?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be one of the people who thinks they can somehow play around it?
Yeah, there's a Spell Scout. If we hit an instant here, we are in the business of doing
lucky?
business. Slow roll. Oh! I was hoping for a...
But now he's in a real good spot here,
Yeah, he still has his clock. Those things will flip eventually.
They need to flip at some point.
Yes.
Because, he doesn't really hold... He doesn't have the type of hand that's going to hold on to the game 3 turns from now, 4 turns from now. But he's got a couple good turns.
He also wants to draw a land, so he has Leak and then Snapcaster Leak again.
Now, do you Leak here? This is...
Yeah, I feel like you can't...
You can't just mess around.
Yeah.
You got to...
Because if you brick on the draw, then you attack for nothing next turn. That's just too bad. Just shock the Nugget.
Case 2. Get the spike in while you can. Yeah. Maybe that's a sign that he wants to Snapcaster the Galvanic Blast. Bricks again.
Well, there's also what else are you going to do with that Galvanic Blast? Is another.
Yeah, I guess the stars have to align where the Spell Skyte's not in play anymore.
Yeah. And that guy's in for the long haul. That's brutal because drawing a land or drawing an instant on top or sorcery on top or land are all awesome draws. So there's a very limited range of bad draws he has. What did he pick up last turn? A Noble. Fancy that.
And he doesn't even bother. The Spell Skyte's locked it out. Why play it? Why not just Snapcaster down a Galvanic Blast and make him taste it?
Well, because I think I think you do want to play. I'm pretty sure you want to play Noble that turn because then you can still go end of turn, just Snapcaster, untap attack with a bunch. Then next turn, if you draw a land, then you have Snapcaster with Leak. And if you don't draw a land, you still have Snapcaster Galvanic Blast. That Galvanic Blast is always going to be 2 points, but that Noble has a very limited shelf life of being able to do anything.
If you can get 2 points out of the Noble, you gladly cash it in. That's a good point. But if you play the Noble, it's not even clear you're going to get 2 points out of it, and you don't get the Galvanic Blast that time.
Right, I guess you don't necessarily get the points out of it if your Delvers flip, because the Spell Skyte now has a block where he didn't have a block before. But I still just don't know what you're doing sitting on that card.
Well, he commits it now.
Yep.
Sadly, the 1/1s are still not flipped, which means that Kyle has... he's got good chances. I mean, the Sword of Feast and Famine, he's starting to move things.
He's starting to...
Maybe he was saving the Strong Hurt Noble to chump with. Is that Strong Hurt Noble's lot in life?
Well, he didn't have the sword last turn when he went through that line. The sword was on play. Checking to see if the haunting resolves, I guess. Not worth attacking there?
Interesting. I would attack. Why not? Even if you abyss him.
It's pretty close to a free roll. You just kill his noble.
Yeah.
All right. We are starting to, even with Snapcaster Leak, we are starting to enter some dangerous territory for Lou.
Yeah.
Things are slipping away.
Yeah. Now the sword's going to go on to one of the 1/1 flyers.
Yeah.
And getting hit by a sword is...
the worst thing that can possibly happen to you.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than standard.
Getting hit with a sword is the equivalent of the we need to talk.
Yeah.
Sword moves over to Spellskite. Which is obviously totally devastating to any possibility of drawing any spell that does anything relevant. Of course, he's not going to draw those because those would flip the 3/2 flyers.
Yeah. Would you have what's the argument for moving to Spellskite instead of moving to one of your tokens?
Eat a Brimstone Valley and live.
But he has a second Spellskite. He still has a second Spellskite.
Yeah, I'd move it to the tokens so that you can actually trade with a Delver. Maybe he's just got to read on the future.
Sure.
So, we are on turn, what is this, 6 in a row of the Delver not hitting?
Yeah.
The Delver's a cool mistress. How many hits does he have in his main deck? It's like 23?
Yeah, 23 plus.
Ponder ups the percentages a little bit.
Yes.
So what does he need to do here? I mean, he can't realistically burn him out because of all those Spellskites.
Yeah, I mean,
Is he going to have to, in some awkward way, establish control?
I don't know how he's going to...
I mean, okay, so...
Basically, Kyle has
to...
So
both of these flip.
Yeah.
To steal Sabotage, that's...
Okay, that's a real
card.
draw.
That is a real card. So now, he can only... if Kyle has nothing, he has a Nexus and a 1/1. He can only stop one of the insects, and he can only stop 2 of the ground guys. He's not Steel Sabotaging the Spellskite? Oh. God.
It's a fun card.
Well, in a surprising turn of events, Snapcaster Mage has wiped another smile off of another face. Another rogue deck bites the dust against Snapcaster.
In fairness, he has his own Snapcaster Mages.
Yeah.
He's getting back Shocks, which is a little different than getting back 2 1/1 flyers, but...
This is pure magic right here. The 2-for-1 that gets back the 2-for-1.
Yeah.
This is magic. This is Muldrifter. I draw Esper Charm. That's real.
Revelark,
absolutely. Revelark. Get it back.
Get back my Muldrifter and my Stone Rain.
Absolutely.
Draw 1 million cards.
Like this is nothing but value.
Yeah. What if Magic was chess instead?
Probably less people would play it. Although I don't know, more people play chess right now, but the game's kind of grandfathered in.
Right, it is because of historical precedent.
Magic's growth rate is certainly well beyond chess's growth rate these days.
And it's way more expensive to play Magic than chess, which is another factor.
You get a lot less Planeswalker points for playing chess. So, Kai manages to get 3 points of damage in.
Yeah, but...
loses his entire offense. He's just putting the sword into the Steel Sabotage? Did he forget?
I think he just doesn't really care.
Did Lou just not Steel Sabotage it? Maybe Lou doesn't realize... it's choose one, right? You're locked into the mode. Maybe Lou thinks that Spellskite would redirect it or something.
Maybe he just feels he needs to unsummon the Spellskite here instead of countering any piece of equipment.
It doesn't get anywhere.
What's up?
I just wanted to see if you wanted to eat this.
So Lou has, at this point, 3 creatures left. He still has one of those insectoids, the Snapcaster and the Stromkirk Noble. And he's facing down a sorted Spellskite, a sorted 1/1 flyer. On defense, 2 more flyers and a Spellskite. See, now the Steel Sabotage is just going to...
Yeah, because of the second sword, it's not...
You're saying it doesn't matter?
It's not that lucrative. Yeah, bouncing the Spellskite...
I'm saying countering it doesn't do enough. But he's just going to... he's just going to replay the Spellskite.
Yeah.
So I think it is better to counter the sword. Because then you're in the same position. He just doesn't have a sword in play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he probably just didn't realize that he couldn't use the redirection ability by just paying a blue. The thing that I thought was weird was that Kyle didn't just pay a blue to redirect it to the Spellskite that didn't have a sword.
Right.
Sometimes when you're this far ahead.
Well, he also might be The mana he's leaving up also. I
Yeah,
guess.
what did he
Yeah,
leave up?
there's
There's
no
a sword
mana.
there.
Yeah, there's no mana. Never mind.
All right, so if I think actually Time Walk helps here. If he draws Time Walk,
That's pretty marginal.
Ancestral Recall is much better. Shatterstorm, that's the play. So, a Snapcaster Mage and a Stormkirk Noble, 1 unknown card in hand, 5 mana, versus Kyle's
We're about to know what it is. He's going to discard it.
Mana Leak. So Kyle with multiple swords, multiple spell skites.
And now all Kyle has to do is protect himself from something like running Brimstone Volleys or whatever. But
and this is
I'm pretty
this
sure
one is a
I'm pretty
rock.
sure Lou can stack his deck and not win from here. So
So there's Arc Trail, deal 1 to your spell skite, 2 to you. No, because he has 2 spell skites. No. Yeah. And
Yep.
Lou packs it in,
Yep.
Kyle advances. Another victory for the Blade decks.
definitely a cool